Hey everybody, Adam from Nurture Digital, and today I wanted to talk about which platform you should build your website on. Now, when it comes to web design, this is the question I get asked the most. There are so many website builders on the market. How do you know which is the right solution for you? Well, for me, there is actually a single answer, but before I just go and give it to you, I thought we should look at some of the best and more popular options out there. So the first one is Wix. Now, for those who want precise control, the first and foremost difference between Wix and other website builders is that Wix is what's called an unstructured editor. See, most website builders limit you to dragging and dropping within a predefined grid, whereas Wix is different. Wix's unstructured editor enables you to drag and drop elements anywhere you want on a page with no constraints. And while the upside to that is clear, freedom, I've also found that the unstructured editor results in some tedious work and some real challenges. Wix does provide you with plenty of options for your website, including, over 500 themes, lots of features, an app marketplace for even more integrations. But I really only recommend Wix for a specific style of user, and that's people who don't want to be constrained, who understand exactly what they want and how they're going to achieve it. The next one is Weebly. Now, Weebly is a wonderful and easy to use website builder, but it's currently also transitioning to a replacement editor called Square. And the Square editor is significantly less customizable than the old Weebly editor. As an example, you can't add individual elements, you can only add individual sections. So you can toggle elements on and off within the sections, but you can't actually remove them, which feels like a big step backwards in flexibility. The old Weebly editor allowed you to add sections, but also add or remove individual elements. It's really unusual to see a site builder purposely remove options. The new Square editor is also left wanting for several other features the old one had. So there's no blog, no app store, no video backgrounds, no membership site. And while you can still use the old editor, Weebly is definitely pushing people towards the new Square editor. Which brings us then to Squarespace. Now, Squarespace is the Apple of website builders. It's intuitive, it's curated, it's thoughtfully designed, and I highly recommend it. The Squarespace templates are fresh and sophisticated and share a similar look and feel. There's plenty of white space, bold typography, and room to showcase your photography and products. And in my opinion, it actually has some of the most beautiful templates of any of the builders, but they all are a little bit the same. It also has great features. It's got great blogging, podcasting, video players, and its e-commerce is a viable alternative to Shopify. Squarespace is a fine choice. Now, I just mentioned Shopify, and Shopify is the best e-commerce builder, hands down. If you're building a pure e-commerce website, then I highly recommend Shopify. But even if you're not e-commerce, just keep listening. See, Shopify has come to dominate the e-commerce space by constantly innovating and improving, while always remaining clear and simple to use. It's a real magical balancing act that's unusual in the world of software. And the App Store is one of its biggest differences. The Shopify core covers about 80% of what you would ever need, and the App Store covers the other 20%, so that the core doesn't get bloated with features that you don't necessarily need. Shopify also continually launches innovative features. They've had Shopify Payments, Shopify Point of Sale, Shopify Augmented Reality, and they really are pushing the industry forward. But beyond all of the features, the thing I hear most frequently from users is that they love it because it's so easy to use. So if you're e-commerce or a real store moving online, Shopify is a clear winner. But it does do so much more. I've built professional services, artist sites, trades, health, and more on Shopify. It does it all. But what really sets it apart is its robustness. It's almost unbreakable, and the ease in which it can be modified through the access to the code. It is far easier than all of the others. What about WordPress, I hear you ask? And that's a good question, because WordPress is the world's most well-liked website building platform. Over 35% of all websites on the internet are powered by WordPress. So before I start though, it's always pertinent to point out that there are two versions of WordPress. There's the self-hosted WordPress.org and there's WordPress.com. I'm not going to talk about WordPress.com today. Something else that needs to be mentioned is that WordPress is actually a content management system and not strictly a website builder. Now, a CMS like WordPress is definitely flexible, but it does feature a much steeper learning curve, whereas Shopify, Wix, Squarespace, etc., although less flexible, are far easier to use. Now, I can't deny, therefore, that WordPress gives you complete control of every aspect of your website and online presence. It can be used to build e-commerce, community forums, social networks, membership website, personal, whatever. But there are just so many moving parts. Hosting, for example, is included with most website builders, but with WordPress you have to use a third-party host, which means more cost and even more complexity before you've begun. And yes, there are thousands of pre-made WordPress themes that you can just use for your design, and it does have amazing drag and drop page builders like Beaver Builder and Divi, but again it starts to get complicated. Now you either have to code your own page or choose and install a separate builder. And you do also get access to some 55,000 WordPress plugins. They're like apps for WordPress that add additional features and functionality. But unlike the other builders, you need to use apps even for core functions. And in order to configure them, you have to enter the WordPress admin, the most unfriendly user interface you will ever see. But my biggest bugbear is that once you've installed the plugins, you have to keep up with the updates. This is why developers love it and will usually push you toward WordPress, because it's hard to use, so you'll just keep going back to them to make even small changes. It's a great recurring revenue stream. Now, at this point, some people, especially the WordPress advocates, will be crying, but what about SEO? Isn't WordPress best for SEO? No. And the next question will be then, which website builder is the best for SEO? And the real answer is none of them. And anyone who tells you any different is just making it up. See, choosing between any of the website builders that I've mentioned today will not rank your business any differently in Google. There are important technical SEO requirements that a website builder must have, but every builder on today's list covers them. Some do go a little further than others. For example, Squarespace supports Google AMP pages, but in practice, choosing a different builder will have no meaningful impact on your SEO. So, here's the thing. If you don't know which one to choose Shopify. Why? Because whatever you want to do, it can do. Whatever you might want to do in the future, it will be able to do. And on top of that, it's easy to use. It's the most robust infrastructure I've ever used. It's secure, and they are here for the long run. But there is one caveat to all of this. Each of these builders will allow you to build a website all by yourself, simply, easy, cheaply. But unless you're a web designer, that doesn't mean it's going to look amazing and convert like crazy. But that is a whole other discussion. I hope this has helped. If you have any further questions, you know where to reach me. So until next time, thanks very much.